Table.
This evening, President Mahama appoints Kenneth Gilbert Ajay as Defense Minister, reassigns Ahmed Ibrahim, while Mahama Yariga heads to the local government.
Private schools petition Education Ministry over alleged anomalies in 2026 BC results.
Also in this bulletin, Koforidua Technical University denounces alleged cannabis-infused products on campus and vows action against anyone found culpable.
In business tonight, the International Monetary Fund upgrades Ghana's debt risk rating, but warns reforms must continue to protect economic gains.
Much later tonight in international news, Democratic Republic of Congo's confirmed Ebola cases rise above 4,000 for the first time in the current outbreak. Welcome to the program. We have details of these stories and a lot more in business and sport and entertainment coming to you within the next hour. Stay with us.
Let's begin the bulletin from the presidency because President Mahama has named a substantive minister for defense exactly a year after a tragic helicopter crash that claims the life of the late defense minister, Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah. Kenneth Gilbert Ajay is the new defense minister and Ahmed Ibrahim replaces him at the Works and Housing Ministry. Also, a vacuum has been created at the majority bench because Mahama Yariga has been nominated to head the local government ministry.
Two nominees, two reassignments. It took a full year for President Mahama to replace two of his cabinet ministers who lost their lives in the line of duty. Dr. Zanetor Agyemang-Rawlings has been nominated to head the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, replacing the late Murtala Muhammad, although she was widely expected to be appointed to the Defense Ministry. For the Defense Ministry, President Mahama has brought back a former Deputy Minister, Kenneth Gilbert Ajay, to head the ministry. A striking aspect of the reshuffle is the appointment of the current majority leader Mahama Yariga as Minister Designate for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, creating a vacancy in the majority leadership. Three news sources have confirmed that James Agalga will be named the next majority leader, although the party is yet to make an official announcement. The executive director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Draman, has suggested the qualities the new majority leader should possess.
You need somebody who has a very calm demeanor and a lot of maturity to deal with a very big crowd. And maybe I say crowd here advisedly in terms of the numbers that they have. I think the second is, the knowledge and preparedness in terms of understanding how Parliament works. I think is, someone who also understands the standing orders and a very good debater. You also want someone who can tolerate constructive and positive dissent, because in a group that is made up of 188 or so members, you are not going to have group think. You are not going to have everybody thinking the same. The person should have room to tolerate dissent, particularly when it is dissent that will contribute to the healthy growth of the caucus and so on.
For Dr. Zanetor Agyemang-Rawlings, she will have to resign from her position as a vice president of the Pan-African Parliament in line with the body's rules. Meanwhile, local government minister Ahmed Ibrahim has been reassigned to the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources.
So who are these people and where are they coming from? Plus, what experiences are they bringing on board? And here's a quick a profile of the mentions according to the president. You see that on your screen right away, starting with Dr. Zenato Adjman Rawlings, and she has been nominated for the Ministry of Environment, of Science and Technology. Well, she's no newcomer to public service. After nearly a decade in Parliament, she has built experience across security, across environmental policy, including key leadership role in Parliament today. She is the NDC MP for Klotekole since 2017. She has been and now serving her third term in Parliament. She served on the Defence and Interior Environment and other parliamentary committees as well. So there's some experience there. She's also chairperson of Parliament Security and Intelligence Committee in the current Parliament. And this would be her first appointment as a substantive cabinet or a sector minister. Let's move on to the next person. Well, she's also a medical doctor. Let's stay a while longer on Dr. Adjman Rawlings. She's also a medical doctor. We find that. And she holds executive masters in conflict, peace and security from the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. She also has additional training in defense management, conflict and crisis management, women, peace and security, counterterrorism and counter-IED operations. Now to Mahama Ayariga. Now he has been the majority leader in Parliament and has been moved from the Centre of Parliamentary Business into the Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Ministry. He's also bringing considerable political weight to that assignment because he has spent several terms in Parliament and has been one of the key figures coordinating government business in the House. He's a veteran NDC MP for Boko Central. He has served in the 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th Parliaments. He became Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business in January 2025. He's a former presidential spokesperson under President John Evans Atta Mills. But perhaps more importantly, he already understands the machinery of government. He has handled several portfolios before, ranging from information education to sports and the environment, because he previously served as Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry. He has been Deputy Minister for Education, Information and Media Relations, Minister for Youth and Sports, Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Let's look at his educational background. Professionally, he comes from a legal background with training in Ghana and at Harvard, adding another layer of institutional and policy experience to his political resume. The next person we're looking at is Kenneth Gilbert J, and he is heading back to a familiar territory, if you like. He's been reassigned to the Defense Ministry after previously serving there as a deputy minister. If we're looking at his academic journey, it cuts across business, management and security. Now, that security training in particular, it becomes very relevant as he takes responsibility for one of the country's most sensitive ministries, and we're talking about the Defense Ministry. His political experience right now. So this is less of an entirely new assignment and more of a return because he has served as a defense. He has served at the defense before and later managed the works and housing portfolio. Now he comes in with experience on both sides of government administration. So a familiar territory he is venturing into. The next thing we're looking at is Ahmed Ibrahim. Now he is completing this round of movement and he's shifting from local government to take over works, housing and water resources. And that's the ministry that Kenneth Gilbert J was heading previously. Now he's one of the more experienced parliamentarians in the reshuffle because he has years in the House and leadership experience on both the majority and the minority sides as he has stayed in Parliament. His educational background is this. It combines political science with finance and private sector management. There's a mix that will now be tested against some very practical challenges in housing, infrastructure and water delivery in the country. So broadly, this reshuffle appears to mix new entrants into cabinet with experienced hands being repositioned. And the next test will be what these changes translate into terms of delivery.
Listen, attention to education now. The Ghana National Council of Private Schools and other private school operators have presented a petition to the Ministry of Education over their concerns regarding the 2026 Basic Education Certificate Examination BC results. Meanwhile, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, has thrown its weight behind calls for an independent probe into the controversy surrounding the 2026 BC results.
Presenting a petition, the Executive Director of the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, Kwesi Obinfo, underscored the significant contribution of private schools to national development. He stressed the need for greater transparency in the conduct and administration of public examinations.
We are in a possession of relevant documentary and empirical evidence in support of the concerns raised in this petition. And for that matter, if the establishment of an independent review body is constituted, the petitioners will make themselves available and provide adequacy of relevant evidences to make or support our cumulative claim.
The Greater Accra Regional President of the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, Dr. Aisha Akrofi, also called for an independent investigation into the release of the BEC results. Presenting a 7-point analysis, she questioned the moderation process used by West African Examinations Council and called for full disclosure of the procedures and individuals involved in arriving at the final results.
Receive and consider documentary evidence, expert submissions, statistical analysis, and representations from all relevant stakeholders, including the petitioners, WAEC, educational experts, school authorities, and any other persons whose evidence the committee considers relevant to its inquiry.
Receiving the petition on behalf of the Minister of Education, Deputy Minister of Education Dr. Clementa Park acknowledged the critical role private schools play in Ghana's education system.
We are not in a position to justify or dismiss your claims. And I believe that is why you are calling for a probe. Let's have the probe. Let's look at the evidence. Let's put all the cards on the table. Let's do an honest assessment and then reach an honest conclusion.
Meanwhile, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, has endorsed the calls for an independent investigation.
Let's allow the investigation to go on and let's see whether there's truth in what they are saying or not. Then we'll come to a table and agree whether we need another body to do the work we are expecting to be done.
The West African Examinations Council, WAEC, has rejected claims by private school operators that it deliberately awarded low grades to their students. WAEC insists that the 2026 BEC results were graded fairly, accurately, and professionally.
And now the management of the Koforidua Technical University has condemned the alleged production and sale of cannabis-infused drinks and ice cream on its campus. The university says while the 7 students arrested in connection with the incident are presumed innocent until proven guilty, it will not shield anyone found who have breached its rules.
Narcotics Control Commission NACOC on August 1 arrested 10 persons suspected of producing and selling cannabis-infused drinks and ice cream during Koforidua Technical University's SRC week celebrations. KTU management says its verification has established that 7 of the 10 suspects are students of the university. The 7 students, together with the 3 others, are currently assisting NACOC with investigations in Accra. Public Relations Officer of the university, Macklin Loveless Dodu, says management will allow the investigation to take its course while its own committee probes the students' alleged involvement.
Such acts, even though they are being alleged, are not entertained, by the university. And of course, I will say that they are considered as misconduct. And when the recommendations are submitted, we will get to know what really happened on that day. But at this material moment, we are unable to know whether those external, the 3 external, persons who were part of the arrest came to sell or they came to celebrate with the students or not.
He made it clear that although the students are presumed innocent until proven guilty, those found culpable will face the full disciplinary measures of the university, including suspension or dismissal, in line with the statutes and students' handbook.
The university has governance instruments. When the investigations are completed, then we will invoke, the provisions in the statutes and then the students' handbook. But in the meantime, immediately what the university has done is to ban all SRC activities.
The alleged conduct, if established, could amount to breaches of the Narcotic Control Commission Act 2020, which regulates activities relating to narcotics drugs, including their unlawful possession, production, distribution, and sale. Meanwhile, the Narcotics Control Commission has warned students to stay away from drug-related activities or face the full rigors of the law.
Let me use this opportunity to tell all my tertiary students especially, any form of infused drink is illegal if the infused is with cannabis. So when we come, whether you were buying, whether you were selling, it is illegal.
And the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, led by the Regional Minister Linda Oklu, has issued a 21-day ultimatum to property owners along the Laboma Beach area in the Ladade-Kotopon municipality to vacate their premises. The minister says that after the 21-day period, all structures found within the buffer zone of the Kweshi Lagoon will be demolished. Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe has more in this report.
A task force from the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council arrived at the Laboma Beach area and marked nearly every structure along the beachfront that is considered to be obstructing the free flow of floodwaters from the Kweshi Lagoon. Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu told the media that the exercise is in line with the directive from the President to remove all buildings constructed on waterways and within protected buffer zones.
All these places that we are standing are part of the lagoon, which is the Kweshi Lagoon. I mean, we have video. Unfortunately, I don't know whether it's in the car. You could see from 2022, 2023, 2025, and 2026 the level of encroachment. And so we want to assess the buildings within the buffer zones and then make sure that we give them 21 days notice to evacuate the place, and so that we can create a buffer to store the water. This is where when it rains, I mean, it accommodates chunk of the water within the region, and so we cannot sit aloof to make sure that we lose, I mean, the wetland. And so we are here to reclaim it back, and so that is why we are here. So we've given them 21. You can see that we've marked the buildings within the buffer zones, and so we are hoping that within the 21 days, those buildings, the owners of the buildings would either do the needful or RegSec will come in.
The minister further stated that affected property owners have been given a 21-day ultimatum to relocate, while the Coordinating Council and the task force continue to identify additional structures located on waterways. The exercise has, however, raised concerns among some members of the public who have questioned why the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies allowed these structures to be developed in the first place before taking enforcement action. According to the Regional Security Council, encroachment in the area has obstructed the natural flow of water, contributing to the worsening flooding situation in parts of the capital. The 21-day ultimatum expires on August 28, 2026. Attention will then turn to the Regional Coordinating Council and the relevant assembly to see what action will be taken once the deadline passes. Joseph Armstrong, Gold Alugbe TV3, Accra.
Away from that, maternal deaths in Ghana are on the rise, with nearly 1,000 women dying from pregnancy and childbirth-related complications in 2025, equivalent to 230 deaths per 100,000 live births. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Grace Ayinsu-Dankwa has raised concern over the growing rate of cesarean sections as government targets a 20% reduction in maternal deaths by the end of 2026.
And Greater Accra regions continue to record the highest number of maternal deaths in Ghana. Hemorrhage or severe bleeding remains the leading cause of maternal deaths, with delays in seeking care, staff shortages, weak referral systems, inadequate blood supply, transportation challenges, and overcrowded referral hospitals worsening the crisis. At a meeting with health professionals at the Greater Accra Regional Health Directorate, Deputy Health Minister Dr. Grace Ayensu Dankwa identified teenage pregnancy and the rising rate of cesarean sections as key concerns requiring urgent intervention.
C-sections has become high risk for maternal mortality. We went to one region, C-section rate is 48%. I went to one place, I won't mention name. I saw 50 women in a room, some on the phone, some talking, some eating. And the doctor said, oh, this is the elective C-section. I didn't see any fetal distress. I didn't see any maternal distress. I didn't even see any monitoring. One doctor was doing 14 C-sections. And you know that if you do a C-section, the next pregnancy is high risk. And most of these women that are dying are women who have done C-sections in the past.
Dr. Dankwa called for a coordinated maternal mortality action plan across all 11 health regions, saying stronger collaboration will be critical to achieving government's target of reducing maternal deaths by 20% by the end of 2026.
We are looking at, the systemic issues. You saw the facility itself, the infrastructure, the chairs that the nurses were sitting on. We saw some of the beds. It's rusted. And we saw the restrooms. Thankfully, director said with IGF, they're going to be fixing all the restrooms from the top to the bottom. And also there's another land next door that the new maternity block will be built. So in the meantime, the question for me is, what do we do, or what do we provide, or how do we support so that some of these issues that we saw today will be reduced? We cannot eliminate everything.
The Gamanche King Taki Teko Juru II pledged his support for efforts to improve maternal health care and reduce preventable maternal deaths nationwide.
Something must change. Let's join together. Let's make this work, because we can't lose our pregnant mothers and we can't lose unborn children. We should be able to reduce its rate to the barest minimum.
As part of the campaign, the Deputy Health Minister toured the Greater Accra Regional Hospital and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to assess critical gaps in maternal healthcare delivery. Beatrice Soa, TV3 News, Accra.
And the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, says Ghana's democracy is under attack under the Mahama administration. Following Thursday's demonstration on the theme "Democracy is under attack," the party presented a petition to the presidency outlining what it describes as growing threats to constitutional governance, judicial independence, and fundamental freedoms. In this explainer, Evelyn Tegma takes a look at the key issues raised in the petition.
The New Patriotic Party's petition paints what it describes as a troubling picture of the country's democratic landscape. At the heart of the petition is the judiciary. The party claims judicial independence has been weakened following the removal of former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. It also argues that decisions affecting legal vacations for defense lawyers could undermine their constitutional right to legal representation. The petition also alleged that the justice system is being used to target political opponents. It cites the conviction of the party's Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry Bosiako, known as Chairman Wuntumi, describing him as a political prisoner and insisting his prosecution was politically motivated. On illegal mining, the NPP questioned why allegations involving some individuals associated with the governing National Democratic Congress have not, in its view, received the same level of investigation as cases involving opposition figures. The petition also raised concerns about freedom of expression, arguing that journalists, politicians, and social media commentators are increasingly being arrested or investigated over criticism of public officials. The NPP further accused security agencies of selective law enforcement, claiming opposition figures face dawn raids, arrests, and stringent bail conditions, while petitions against some NDC officials over alleged political violence have seen little action. The petition also questioned plans to reintroduce tribunal systems and alleged that recent developments are part of a broader effort to weaken democratic institutions. It claimed this could ultimately pave the way for a third-term agenda for President Mahama, although the petition does not cite evidence of any constitutional amendment process currently underway. The NPP therefore demanded an end to what it describes as political harassment, the equal application of the law, protection of free speech, and judicial independence and strict adherence to constitutional safeguards. The presidency has not publicly responded to the petition as yet. Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology has held a prayer and remembrance ceremony in honor of the late Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Muhammad. The event brought together family members, members of parliament, the national chief imam, staff of the ministry and other sympathizers who joined in Islamic prayers and paid tribute to his legacy of dedicated public service.
Well-wishers, staff, and some members of the Muslim fraternity joined the Adua to ask Allah to have mercy on and be pleased with the soul of the late politician. Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa, paid tribute to him by sharing the achievements and initiatives championed by Dr. Murtala Muhammad while he served at the Environment Ministry.
He was so convinced that this country needed to focus on environmental sustainability, scientific research, and technological innovations as key to our national transformation. He didn't just say that by words. He really had a plan before he even came to this ministry. And in his vetting, I quoted him on something very prophetic he stated. And when he was really talking about the importance of us focusing on protecting the environment and making sure our daily lives is guided by sustainable practices, he quoted Genesis 2:15 and the Quran 2:30. He is the one that spearheaded the repeal of LI 2462. And today, our forests are breathing again because of Honorable Murtala. He also launched what we call the One Child, One Tree campaign to make sure that we instill environmental responsibility in our children right from their early age.
His legacy lives on, and many remember him not just for his character, but his selfless service to the nation. May his soul and the rest of the 7 other gallant men continue to rest in perfect peace. Nura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
You're also watching News 360 on TV3. Let me inform you that at 10 p.m. tonight on Ghana Tonight, Kemini Amano is engaging the incoming majority leader, James Agaga, who is also the MP for Busa North. You don't want to miss out on all that he's bringing, even as he comes in as a majority leader. So join us at 10 p.m. on Ghana Tonight with Kemini Amano. We have weather updates coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Weather News segment is brought to you by Syntex Tank.
shocks, exchange rate pressures, and fiscal risks in the energy and financial sectors could quickly reverse recent gains if reforms lose momentum.
The fund noted that during the fifth review of Ghana's Extended Credit Facility Program, it maintained a high-risk rating despite debt indicators falling below their thresholds because of uncertainty surrounding the exchange rate and global gold prices. However, with those risks easing, IMF staff say the assessment now aligns with the mechanical signal, justifying the upgrade to a moderate risk of debt distress. Despite the positive development, the IMF cautions that Ghana's debt vulnerabilities remain significant. It warns that the economy remains highly exposed to commodity price swings, export shocks, and exchange rate depreciation due to its reliance on gold exports and foreign currency denominated debt. The fund also highlighted fiscal risks from the energy sector, potential financial sector recapitalization costs, and other contingent liabilities, stressing that continued fiscal discipline, structural reforms, and the completion of remaining debt restructuring agreements will be critical to safeguarding the country's debt sustainability.
Away from that, government is expected to be the biggest beneficiary of the 2 cedi per litre diesel intervention, as the measure is likely to protect state revenue by sustaining fuel consumption. According to industry analysts, persistently high diesel and petroleum prices have over the years reduced fuel demand, weakening government revenue from taxes and levies collected on the products.
The executive director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, CEMSE, Benjamin Insia, says the 2 cedi intervention on diesel is expected to help maintain fuel consumption levels amid cushioning consumers. He adds that the measure will also improve the government's fiscal performance and reduce the impact of rising global fuel prices on the economy.
Without intervention, government will lose massively in terms of fiscal balance because higher prices of diesel or higher prices of petroleum products over the years has contributed to declining consumption. So when prices of petroleum products go high, consumption declines. And if consumption declines, it's likely going to affect government revenue mobilization from the downstream.
CEMSE says the economic benefits of government's 2 cedi per litre diesel subsidy will outweigh the expected revenue loss. CEMSE believes the long-term economic gains from the subsidy will exceed its short-term cost to the state.
Major beneficiary is government. The higher price of fuel affects every aspect of the economy, makes the economy unstable, affects government fiscal mobilization, especially revenue mobilization, and also likely going to cause a lot of agitation from the worker or the labor front. So I believe that instead of looking at the impact on consumption or consumers, we should rather more channel it to the benefits that government is going to derive from this particular intervention, and the benefit is going to outweigh the 600 million or the 500 million that will likely be lost as a result of this particular intervention.
CEMSE maintains that while consumers will benefit from lower diesel prices, the greater gain will be to government through stronger revenue mobilization, improved macroeconomic stability, and economic benefits that are expected to outweigh the policy's short-term fiscal cost.
We'll end the segment here, but before that, let's take a look at how the cedi is faring against other trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market. I am Minu Afo.
Let's do some sports here on News360. My name is Mutalaya Kobo. English Premier League side Coventry FC have announced the signing of Caleb Renchi on a long-term contract. The midfielder joins from Danish Super League side FC Nordsjælland for a fee of around 30 million euros. Renchi recently started for Ghana alongside teammate Brandon Thomas Asante at the 2026 FIFA World Cup and scored the winning goal in Ghana's victory over Panama. The 20-year-old has been capped 15 times already by the Black Stars after his impressive performances for his club. Away from Caleb Renchi, let's use some women's football where the Black Queens will battle Malawi for a spot in the 2026 WAFCON semi-final. A win for Ghana against Malawi automatically translates into qualification for the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil. 7 other teams are vying for a World Cup spot as well. My colleague Akosu Eje sums up the quarterfinal in the following report.
After 3 rounds of matches, the Black Queens of Ghana have successfully gained 1 of the 8 spots in the quarterfinals of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations, which means the Black Queens have done a back-to-back quarterfinal qualification. This time, it means so much for the team because their next game will be against Malawi, who are debutants at this tournament. If the Black Queens qualify to the next stage of the competition, it means they have grabbed 1 of the 4 available slots for qualification to the World Cup at this particular tournament. However, a defeat will mean that they would have to play in the play-in playoff to see if they stand a chance to play in the intercontinental playoffs for Brazil 2027. Meanwhile, coach Kim Lasbio-Kegrin ahead of this tournament sets 3 targets for the team. 1 was qualifying out of the group stage, which the team have achieved. 2, to qualify to the semi-finals and qualify to the World Cup, and then ultimately winning the trophy. So coach Kim Lasbio-Kegrin and the team have now been able to achieve 1 of the 3 targets they set for themselves. 7 other countries that made it to the next stage of the competition. Joining Ghana in the quarterfinals of the competition are Morocco, Nigeria, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Malawi, Cameroon, and Algeria. These 8 countries will be fighting not just for the ultimate trophy or the cash prize of $2 million, but will be hoping to be one of the 4 countries that automatically books a spot in Brazil 2027.
A win for the Black Queens against Malawi will mean that they qualify to the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil. So on the African continent, Mediema will battle Congolese side TP Mazembe in the preliminary round of the 2026-27 CAF Champions League. Now, following the conclusion of the draw, Communications Director of the Moves in Yellow, Benjamin Willie Graham, says the target of the club is to earn a spot in the group stages.
A champion in your Premier League and you're going to the CAF competition, certainly you are aware you're going to meet the creme de la creme. And so the most important thing for us was to make sure that the team is well prepared. And as management, led by Mr. Moses Amar and of course the CEO James Esufi and the board chairman Dr. Tony Obin, what it is that we have put as our target is to get to the group stages. And so we are aware of the daunting task ahead of us. But one of the the language here for us is that we have to be prepared. We have to be ready. And being ready means a lot of things. Being ready is that on the part of management, we need to make sure that all the motivation that the players need, we are getting it ready for them.
Mediema there will be facing Congolese side TP Mazembe in the CAF Champions League. That's all by way of sports here on News360. My name is Mutalai Akubu.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the iron nature of my job, we spend several hours.
360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, the late Ghanaian actress and entrepreneur Beverly Afagloba will be laid to rest on Saturday, August 8, 2026, following a funeral service at the forecourt of the State House in Accra. The service, which begins at 7 a.m., is expected to bring together family, friends, colleagues from the entertainment industry, and loved ones to pay their final respects. A private burial will follow the funeral service. A Thanksgiving service will be held on Sunday, August 9 at 9 a.m. at Action Chapel International in Tema to celebrate her life and legacy. Beverly Afaglo passed away on May 24, 2026 at the age of 42 after battling cancer for 2 years. Her death sparked an outpouring of grief across Ghana's entertainment industry and among fans. Known for her roles in films and television productions such as Single Six and Northern Affair, The Game and Return of Beyoncé, Beverly also built a successful business with her food brand, Traffic Shawarma. We'll definitely bring you highlights from that service. It's now time for some entertainment tidbits. Ghanaian music lovers have plenty of fresh new releases to enjoy this week, and here are some fresh releases to update your music playlist. Leading this week's releases is Molly, who teams up with Sarkodie and Melissa on the vibrant new single Accra Girls. Sarkodie also delivers another release collaborating with Dope Nation on Ino Easy. Also out this week, Kweku Flick returns with Frango, while Kweku Darlington links up with Koji Q for inspirational track God's Time. Hip-hop fans can also check out the Hennessy Cypher 2026, which showcases some of Ghana's finest rap talents. Meanwhile, South African singer Elaine joins forces with Major League DJ Z, Mfort Wave, and Atmos Black on One More Dance. Completing this week's lineup is Daku, who collaborates with Ashake Music on their latest single, That Girl. With a diverse mix of Afrobeats, hip-hop and Amapiano influences, this week's releases offer something for every music lover.
That we share, I wish that we can make it through. I'm talking to the end, baby. I'm thinking about you.
And that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Do have a good weekend.
Let's go on the international front tonight. And the Democratic Republic of Congo's confirmed Ebola cases have risen above 4,000 for the first time in the current outbreak, government data showed. The epidemic, the world's second largest, has been described as the fastest spreading on record. Experts believe infection started circulating months before the outbreak was declared on May 15, and that the true number of cases could be much higher than the official tally.
And in Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Pakistan, they have signed a joint defense agreement saying an attack on one of them would be seen as an attack on all three. The pact was announced at a meeting between Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, and Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif in the Saudi city of Mecca. Now, the Mecca Joint Defense Agreement pledges mutual support between the three Sunni states, but provides no specifics on the obligations of each. That's our package for you tonight, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosby Annan.
I'm Grace Hamuajiman. Don't forget, at 10 p.m. on Ghana Tonight's Kemini Amano is engaging the incoming majority leader, James Agaga. You don't want to miss out on it. Good evening.